Hey guys, tonight you're not just going to hear about D-Day, you're going to live it. You're going to experience a day, a single, extraordinary day, in the life of a paratrooper from the 101st Airborne Division, somewhere over Normandy, France, June 5th through 6th, 1944. My name is Private First Class James Jimmy Dalton, 22 years old, from a farm outside Tulsa, Oklahoma, and this is the day I've been training for since I volunteered in 1942. So before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of immersive history. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is, and especially if you've got connections to the airborne, to Normandy, to D-Day itself. Those of you who served, whether in Europe, the Pacific, Korea, Vietnam, I'd love to hear how this compares to your experience. Those whose fathers jumped with the 82nd or the 101st, your stories matter. Now settle in, get comfortable, and let's step back in time together. Close your eyes if you want. I'm about to live a day that changed the world, a day I actually lived 80 years ago. It's 1400 hours, 2 in the afternoon, for those who don't speak Army, on June 5th, 1944, and I'm sitting on my bunk at a pottery airfield in Devon, England, going through my equipment for the 7th time today. My hands know this routine. Check the main chute, check the reserve, check every strap, every buckle, every connection point. My life depends on these checks, and I'm not the trusting type. The barracks smells like oil, sweat, tobacco, and nervous anticipation. It's a smell I'll remember for the rest of my life, however long that turns out to be. Around me, 132 other men from Easy Company are doing the same thing I am. Checking, rechecking, trying to keep our minds occupied, trying not to think too hard about what's coming. My bunk creaks as I shift my weight. The T5 parachute harness feels like it weighs as much as I do, but I know that's not true. The main chute is about 28 pounds. Add the reserve chute, and you're pushing 45. But that's before you add everything else. My M19 42 jumpsuit is heavy canvas. My helmet, my weapon, I've got an M1 Garand, 8 pounds of American engineering, ammunition, grenades, gas mask, entrenching tool, first aid kit, rations, a knife, extra socks, because trench foot is no joke. By the time I strap everything on, I'm carrying somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds. And that's before they hand me my leg bag with even more equipment that I'll drop on a 20-foot tether just before I hit the ground, assuming everything goes according to plan. Spoiler, it won't. I run my thumb along the parachute's static line, the yellow cord that connects to the aircraft's anchor cable and automatically deploys the chute when I jump. It's simple, elegant, and it better work. In training, we had malfunctions. Guys landed hard, broke ankles, legs, backs. One guy died when his main chute failed and his reserve tangled. We don't talk about that, but we all think about it. The static line feels strong. The connector feels secure. I check it anyway. Then I check it again. Dalton, you're gonna wear that snap hook out from looking at it. That's Corporal Mike Henderson from Pittsburgh, bunked 2 down from me. He's 24, which makes him practically ancient in this outfit. He's got a wife and a kid he's never met. Baby was born while we were at Camp Toccoa. He carries a picture of them in his helmet liner, tucked behind the webbing. Can't be too careful. I say, sure you can, Henderson replies, but he's grinning. Nervous energy. We're all running on it. That chute's been checked by you, me, the riggers, probably God himself. It'll open. Probably. Definitely. I don't believe him. but I appreciate the effort. Henderson's a good man. We've known each other since jump school at Fort Benning. We've been through every training exercise together. We've jumped from mock-ups, from towers, from aircraft at different altitudes. We've practiced night jumps, combat equipment jumps, mass tactical jumps. And now, after 2 years of preparation, we're about to do it for real. I fold the chute carefully, making sure every line is straight, every panel properly arranged. The riggers already did this. It's their job, and they're good at it, but I'm doing it again anyway. Some guys think this is bad luck, messing with a rigger-packed chute. I think bad luck is trusting your life to someone else's hands without double-checking their work. At 14:30 hours, 2:30, Lieutenant Winters comes through and tells us to start applying our war paint. That's what we're calling it anyway. It's camouflage grease, dark olive and black. We smear it on our faces, necks, hands, any exposed skin. The idea is to break up our silhouettes when we're operating at night. Also, makes us look like we mean business, which doesn't hurt morale. I dig my fingers into the tin and start spreading the grease across my cheeks. It smells like petroleum and feels like axle grease, which it probably is. The stuff is thick, sticky, and it gets everywhere. I look at my reflection in Henderson's hand mirror. He's holding it for me, and I barely recognize myself. I look like something from a monster movie. Or maybe just a soldier about to jump into France. Looking good, Dalton, Henderson says. Your wife know you're this romantic? She married me, didn't she? Standards are already low. The banter helps. It's what we do. Make jokes, keep it light, pretend we're not thinking about the fact that in a few hours we'll be jumping out of perfectly good airplanes into occupied France where several thousand Germans will be trying to kill us. Around me, the barracks is getting louder. More men are awake now, moving around, checking gear, talking. The card games have stopped. The letter writing has stopped. This is it. The waiting is almost over. At 1500 hours, 3 o'clock, we're called to briefing. This is it. The final briefing. We've had so many preliminary briefings over the past weeks that I could draw the maps from memory, but this one's different. This one means it's actually happening. We file into a large tent that's been set up as operations room. Maps cover every surface. Big ones showing the entire invasion coast, smaller ones showing our specific drop zones, even smaller ones showing individual objectives. Red circles mark where we're supposed to land. Blue arrows show how we're supposed to move. It all looks very neat and organized on paper. Captain Mahan, our company commander, stands at the front next to a large map of the Cotentin Peninsula. He's 31, which makes him practically ancient, and he's got this way of looking at you that makes you straighten up even if you're already standing at attention. At ease, men, he says. We relax slightly, but nobody actually sits. There aren't enough chairs, and besides, we're all too wired to sit anyway. Captain Meehan starts talking, and I listen carefully, even though I've heard most of this before. We're part of Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of France. The naval and ground forces will hit the beaches at dawn on June 6th. But before that happens, before the first landing craft touches sand, airborne forces will jump behind enemy lines to secure key positions and cause chaos in the German rear. The 101st Airborne, my division, will jump into Drop Zone C behind Utah Beach. Our job is to secure the causeway's raised roads crossing flooded fields, so the 4th Infantry Division can move inland from the beach without getting bottled up. We also need to secure the village of Sainte-Marie-du-Mont and the crossroads at Sainte-Mère-Église. And we need to blow up bridges to prevent German reinforcements from reaching the beaches. Simple. In theory. Each stick will jump at approximately 400 feet. Captain Meehan continues. A stick is a plan lot of paratroopers, 16 or 17 men, who'll jump from the same aircraft in rapid succession. Lower altitude means less time in the air, which means less time getting shot at by ground fire, but it also means less time for your chute to deploy properly. 400 feet is low. Training jumps were usually from 1,000 feet or higher. At 400 feet, you better hope that static line does its job instantly, because you won't have time to deploy your reserve if something goes wrong. The Germans have flooded the fields, Meehan says, pointing to areas on the map shaded blue. Expect water, deep water in some places. If you land in it, get out of your chute immediately or you'll drown. Well, that's cheerful. They've also installed Rommel's asparagus. That's what we're calling the tall poles the Germans have planted in likely landing zones, designed to impale paratroopers or snag parachutes. Some of them have mines attached. The briefing photos we've seen from reconnaissance flights show them everywhere, thousands of poles, like a forest made of telephone poles, waiting for us. Radio communications will likely be disrupted. Meehan continues. Units will be scattered. You may not land near your assigned objective. You may not land near anyone from your stick. If that happens, find the nearest American, form up, and move toward your objective. If you can't reach your primary objective, move toward your secondary. If you can't reach that, attack targets of opportunity. The key is to keep moving, keep fighting, and cause as much disruption as possible. In other words, chaos. Organized chaos, sure, but chaos nonetheless. The briefing continues. Authentication codes, rally points, equipment checks, order of march to the aircraft. He reminds us that we're carrying liberation money, French currency that we're authorized to use to pay French civilians for assistance. He reminds us that the French are our allies, not our enemies. He reminds us of the Geneva Convention rules regarding prisoners. He reminds us of about 1,000 other details, and I try to remember them all, knowing I'll probably forget half of them the second I jump. Finally, he gets to the part we've all been waiting for. Aircraft will begin loading at 2100 hours. That's 2100 tonight, gentlemen. Takeoff is staggered between 22:45 and 23:15. Your aircraft assignments are posted outside. Wheels up and approximately get some rest if you can. Write letters. Make peace with whatever God you pray to. And gentlemen, he pauses, looking at each of us. Make the 101st proud. We file out of the tent into the cool English afternoon. It's overcast, as usual. England in June is about as wet as Oklahoma in April, which is to say, very. The air smells like rain and aircraft fuel. I can see the C-47s lined up along the airfield, dozens of them, maybe 100. Their twin engines silent for now, waiting. Those of you who remember the war years, you'll know what I'm talking about. That particular smell of avgas and damp concrete, that sight of transport planes lined up like patient birds. Maybe you saw it in England or North Africa or the Pacific. Maybe your father told you about it. It's a smell and a sight that means one thing: we're going. Henderson walks beside me, back toward the barracks. Neither of us says anything for a while. What is there to say? We've known this was coming. We volunteered for this. We trained for this. But knowing something's coming and actually facing it are two very different things. You okay? Henderson finally asks. Yeah. I lie. You. Yeah. He lies back. We're both terrified, but we're not going to say it out loud because that's not what you do. You keep it together. You joke. You check your equipment. You focus on the mission. You don't think about the fact that statistically, some significant percentage of us won't make it through the next 48 hours. Back at the barracks, I sit on my bunk and pull out the letter I started this morning. It's addressed to my parents back in Tulsa. I've been trying to write it all day, but I keep stopping because I don't know what to say. How do you write a letter that might be the last one your parents ever get from you? What do you say? I've crossed out and restarted this thing 4 times already. The current version is simple. Dear Mom and Dad, everything is fine. We're keeping busy with training. The food is still terrible, but we manage. The English weather is exactly as advertised. Wet. I miss home. I miss the farm. I miss your cooking, Mom. Tell everyone I said hello. Love. Jimmy, it's generic. Boring. Safe. It tells them nothing about what I'm actually doing, but that's intentional. The sensors will black out anything operational anyway. And besides, what would I say? Tonight I'm jumping into France, and there's a decent chance I won't survive. That's not something you write to your mother. I fold the letter, seal it in its envelope, and add it to my pile of outgoing mail. Maybe I'll write another one after we get back. Assuming we get back, the barracks is settling into a strange kind of calm now. Some guys are sleeping. Actually sleeping, which I don't understand. How do you sleep knowing what's coming? Others are cleaning their weapons for the 100th time. Some are praying. A few are playing quiet card games, but the energy is gone from them. These aren't the loud, boisterous games we played last week. These are quiet, mechanical. Something to do with your hands. I lie back on my bunk and stare at the ceiling. The springs creak under my weight. I'm not a big guy. 5'9", 160 pounds. But add all the equipment I'll be carrying, and I'm pushing 260, 270. I hope these bunks are stronger than they feel. My mind won't stop running. I keep thinking about the jump. 400 feet. At that altitude, there's maybe 10 seconds between when I exit the aircraft and when I hit the ground, and that's if my chute opens immediately. 10 seconds. In those 10 seconds, I need to check my canopy, look for the ground, prepare for landing, drop my leg bag on its tether, and get ready to hit. 10 seconds that will feel like both an eternity and in an instant. I think about what Captain Meehan said about the flooded fields. If I land in deep water, I need to pop my quick release, get out of the harness, and get to the surface before the weight of my equipment drags me down. But if I pop the release too early while I'm still in the air, I fall without the chute and die on impact. Timing is everything. And I'll be doing this at night, in the dark, possibly under fire, probably disoriented from the jump, definitely not in my assigned drop zone. Training can only prepare you for so much. At 1,700 hours, 5 in the afternoon, they serve what they're calling our last meal before the mission, though I suspect that's just gallows humor on someone's part. The mess tent is crowded, loud with forced cheerfulness. The cooks have gone all out. Steak, mashed potatoes, green beans, fresh bread, even ice cream for dessert. It's better than anything we've had in months. I eat mechanically, not really tasting it. My stomach is in knots, but I force the food down anyway because I don't know when I'll eat again. Could be tomorrow, could be days from now. In combat, you eat when you can, because you never know when the next opportunity will come. Henderson sits across from me, cutting his steak with methodical precision. He's making a deliberate show of enjoying it, making sounds, acting like this is the best meal he's ever had. It's performance, and we both know it, but I appreciate the effort. Dalton, you're not eating, he observes. I'm eating. You're pushing food around your plate. That's different. Stomach's not cooperating. Nerves. What do you think? He nods. Yeah, me too. But eat anyway. You'll need it. He's right. I forced down another few bites. The steak is actually pretty good. Or at least it's real meat, which is more than we usually get. The British have been on rations for years now, and meat is scarce. The fact that they're giving us steak means someone high up decided we deserve it. Last meal for the condemned and all that. After dinner, there's more waiting. The sun is getting lower now, though. With the overcast, It's hard to tell exactly where it is. The light is fading from gray to darker gray. Men drift back to the barracks or wander the airfield. Some just stand near the aircraft, staring at them like they're trying to memorize every rivet. At 1900 hours, 7 p.m., they call for final equipment check. This is it. This is real. We've crossed a threshold from preparing to doing. I strap on my harness. The T5 parachute settles onto my back like an old friend, though friend might be too strong a word for something I'm trusting with my life based on the work of riggers I've never met. The main chute is packed in a canvas container on my back. The reserve is in front, strapped across my chest. Between them, I'm wearing about 1 million pounds of harness, webbing, and straps. Next comes the equipment. I attach my M1 Garand to my right side on a special breakaway system. The rifle hangs vertically, secured but ready to be released quickly once I land. My musette bag goes on my left side, filled with extra ammunition, grenades, rations, first aid supplies, and all the other things I'll need to survive behind enemy lines. Gas mask hangs on my chest, canteen on my belt, entrenching tool, fighting knife. More grenades, ammunition bandoliers cross my chest. Every buckle gets checked. Every strap gets tightened. Every piece of equipment gets secured at least twice. If something comes loose during the jump, it's gone. If something catches on the door or someone else's equipment, I could get tangled or dragged. Everything has to be perfect. Dalton, you're bow-legged, Henderson observes. He's right. With all this equipment, walking normally is impossible. We all waddle like pregnant ducks. You should see yourself. I reply, I'd rather not. By 2000 hours, 8 p.m., I'm fully loaded, and there's nothing to do but wait. I sit on my bunk, which isn't easy with all this equipment. Standing is actually easier, but my legs are already tired from the weight, so I sit anyway awkwardly, like a turtle that's been flipped on its back. The light is almost gone now. Through the barracks windows, I can see the airfield lights coming on. Dim blue lights mark the taxiways. The C-47s are starting their pre-flight checks. I can hear the whine of engines turning over, the cough and rumble as they catch, the steady drone as they warm up. At 2100 hours, 9 p.m., they call for us to move to our assigned aircraft. No more waiting. No more sitting. We're doing this. I stand up, which requires effort with all this weight. My legs shake slightly, partly from the load, partly from adrenaline. Around me, 130 other men are doing the same thing. All of us moving with the same awkward, overburdened gait. We file out of the barracks into the darkness. The airfield is alive with activity. Aircraft engines drone. Men shout orders over the noise. Blue lights mark the paths to our planes. The air smells like aviation. My aircraft is number 42. I know this because I've checked my assignment sheet about 20 times. Stick, 15. 17 men. I number 8 in the chalk, meaning 7 men will jump before me, 9 after. Lieutenant Meehan is our stick leader, first man out. We reach the aircraft and form up in a line. The crew chief, a tech sergeant, I don't know, counts us off to make sure we're all here. 17 men. Check. He goes down the line, asking each of us if we've got our reserve chute, main chute, equipment secured, everything in order. It's pro forma at this point. We've all been checked a dozen times. But it's the last check, and it matters. You ready, son? He asks me. Yes, Sergeant. You checked your static line? Yes, Sergeant. You know what to do when you hit the ground? Yes, Sergeant. Get out of my harness. Find cover, link up with my unit, move toward the objective. You'll do fine. I wish I had his confidence. We wait in line for about 15 minutes while others stick-board their aircraft. Then it's our turn. Lieutenant Meehan goes first, climbing up the short ladder into the C-47's cargo door. The rest of us follow, one by one, shuffling forward, climbing awkwardly with all our equipment. The inside of the C-47 is cramped. There are 2 rows of seats, canvas bench seats, running down both sides of the fuselage, facing each other. Between them is an aisle about 2 feet wide. The cable for our static lines runs down the center. At head height, we shuffle down the aisle and take our seats in reverse, jump order, which means I end up about halfway back. I sit down. The seat is uncomfortable, just a piece of canvas stretched over a metal frame, and with all my equipment, I'm barely balanced. If the plane makes any sudden moves, I'm going to slide right off. But I'm wedged in tight, shoulder to shoulder with the guys on either side of me, so I probably won't actually fall. The guy on my right is a replacement whose name I don't remember. Joined the company last month? Quiet kid, maybe 19. From somewhere in the Midwest. The guy on my left is Sergeant Bill Guanair from Philadelphia. A tough Italian kid with a chip on his shoulder and a mean streak a mile wide. Good soldier, though. I'd want him with me in a fight. The crew chief climbs in last and pulls the door closed. Now we're sealed in. The cargo bay is lit only by a single red light near the forward bulkhead. Red light preserves night vision? They told us in training, when the door opens and we jump, our eyes will already be adjusted to darkness. The engine's drone increases in pitch. The whole aircraft vibrates. I can feel it through the seat, through my body, through my bones. The propellers are spinning up. We're getting ready to taxi. Nobody's talking. You can't talk. Really, the engines are too loud. And besides, what would you say? We're all thinking the same things. Wondering if our chutes will open. Wondering if we'll land in trees or water or German positions. Wondering if we'll even make it to France, or if we'll get shot down over the channel. Those of you who flew combat missions know what I'm talking about. That particular quality of silence when men are locked in a metal tube, going towards something dangerous, unable to turn back, unable to do anything but wait. You just sit there with your thoughts and your fear and your training, and you hope it's enough. The aircraft lurches forward. We're taxiing. I can feel the bumps in the runway through the seat. My stomach is doing flips, but I keep my face neutral. Everyone's watching everyone else. Looking for signs of weakness. Looking for reassurance. I don't want to be the weak link. I don't want to be the guy who freezes in the door or vomits on his boots or starts crying for his mother. So I sit there face blank, breathing steady, trying to look calm while my heart is trying to punch its way out of my chest. The aircraft turns, straightens out. The engine noise changes pitch again, climbing higher, louder. The vibration increases. We're rolling now, faster, faster. I can feel the acceleration pushing me back against the seat. Then the nose comes up. The bumps stop. The aircraft smooths out. We're airborne. We're actually doing this. I can't see anything through the small windows, just darkness and maybe the faint silhouettes of other aircraft in formation. I know from briefings that we're part of a massive aerial armada, over 800 aircraft carrying paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, plus hundreds more towing gliders. But from inside this aluminum tube, I can't see any of that. I just know we're climbing, heading south toward the English Channel. The flight to France should take about 2 hours. 2 hours of sitting in this cramped cargo bay, breathing exhaust fumes and other men's nervous sweat, listening to the engines drone, feeling the aircraft sway and bump through the air. 2 hours to think about everything that could go wrong. Time is strange when you're waiting. It expands and contracts. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like seconds. I try to keep track. We took off at 22:50 hours, so we should arrive over France around 0130, half an hour after midnight, but the numbers blur together in my head. I think about home, the farm outside Tulsa, the fields of wheat and corn, the red dirt roads, the smell of fresh-cut hay. My father teaching me to drive the tractor when I was 12. My mother's cooking. Sunday dinners. Church on Sunday mornings. The swimming hole down by the creek where we'd go in summer. Simple things, peaceful things. Things that seem impossibly far away right now, like they belong to someone else's life. I look at my hands. They're shaking slightly. I clench them into fists, willing them to be still. It doesn't really work. The shaking isn't from cold. It's warm in here, actually, with all of us packed together and all this equipment. It's from adrenaline. My body knows what's coming, even if my conscious mind is trying to stay calm. Across from me, the kid whose name I don't remember is praying. His lips are moving silently, and his eyes are closed. I don't pray much myself. Grew up Methodist, but never really took to it, but I respect those who do. If prayer gives him comfort, more power to him. Me, I find comfort in checking my equipment for the 800th time. Static line, secure. Reserve chute release, accessible. Weapon secured, ready to break free. Grenades, attached, pins intact. Knife, in its sheath, easy to reach. Everything's in order. Everything's ready. I'm as prepared as I can possibly be. The engine's pitch changes slightly. We're descending. Not much, just a little. But I can feel it in my ears. We must be approaching the coast. Soon we'll cross the channel. Then we'll be over France. Over enemy territory. The crew chief moves down the aisle, checking on us. He's got to step carefully. There's equipment everywhere, and one misstep could send him sprawling. He pauses at each man, giving a thumbs up, getting a thumbs up back. When he reaches me, I give him the signal. He nods and moves on. Professional. Calm. Like this is just another training jump. It's not just another training jump. Suddenly the aircraft bucks hard to the left. I grab the seat with both hands to keep from sliding off. Equipment rattles. Men curse. The engines whine differently. We're taking evasive action. Flak, someone shouts. Though we can't actually see it from inside the cargo bay, my stomach drops. The briefings mentioned that we'd encounter anti-aircraft fire as we crossed the coast, but knowing it intellectually and experiencing it are two different things. Somewhere out there, German gunners are firing at us. Exploding shells are filling the air around us. One hit in the wrong place, and this aircraft becomes a flying coffin. The aircraft banks again, then levels out. The engines resume their steady drone. We're through it. For now. But my heart is hammering. That was real. This is real. We're not training anymore. This is combat, and combat kills people. 10 minutes, the crew chief shouts, holding up both hands with fingers spread. 10 minutes until we jump. 10 minutes. I check my equipment again. Static line, reserve, weapon. Everything's still in order. Funny how fear can sharpen you, make you focus. Around me, the other men are doing the same thing. Checking equipment, adjusting straps. Some are praying more intently. A few look like they might vomit. One guy, I think it's Private Hall from 3rd Platoon, is actually grinning. Crazy bastard is looking forward to this. The crew chief moves to the door and prepares to open it. The wind will roar in when he does. The temperature will drop. The noise will be deafening. But we need the door open to jump. Stand up, Lieutenant Meehan shouts, barely audible over the engines. Hook up. We all stand up awkward, difficult with all the weight, and face the rear of the aircraft. I clip my static line to the cable running overhead. The hook snaps closed with a metallic click. I tug on it to make sure it's secure. It holds. Check. Equipment. Meehan orders. Each man checks the equipment of the man in front of him. Gornair checks mine. He tugs on my straps, checks my static line attachment, makes sure nothing's loose or tangled. He slaps me on the shoulder when he's done. Everything's good. I check the replacement kit in front of me. He's shaking like a leaf, but his equipment is secure. I slap his shoulder. Sound off for equipment check, Meehan shouts. Starting from the rear, each man shouts his number and okay. 17 okay, 16 okay, 15 okay. Down the line it comes, getting closer. 9 okay, 8 okay. That's me. 7 okay, I shout, as loud as I can over the engine noise. 6 okay, 5 okay, all the way down to Meehan at the front. The crew chief opens the door. Wind roars into the cargo bay. The temperature drops 20 degrees instantly. The noise is incredible. Engines, wind, and now the sound of anti-aircraft fire that we can actually hear. I can see tracer rounds arcing up from the ground below, lazy looking from this altitude, but moving at hundreds of feet per second. I'm number 8. 7 men between me and that door. 7 men who'll jump before me. Then it's my turn. My mouth is dry. My heart is beating so hard I can feel it in my throat. Every instinct in my body is screaming at me not to jump out of a perfectly good airplane into darkness while people are shooting at us. But I'm going to do it anyway, because that's what I signed up for, because my country needs me too, because the men around me are counting on me, because tomorrow morning American soldiers will be hitting those beaches and they need us to secure the causeways and sow chaos behind enemy lines. Because this is D-Day, and I'm a paratrooper. Red light, the crew chief shouts, pointing to the light near the door. It's still red. We're not over the drop zone yet. We wait, standing, hooked up, facing that open door in the darkness beyond. Every second feels like an hour. The aircraft bucks and weaves, evading ground fire. I nearly lose my balance twice, but catch myself on the man in front of me. Below us, somewhere in that darkness, is France. Occupied France. Enemy territory. In a few moments, I'll be down there. Green light, go. The light changes. Lieutenant Meehan doesn't hesitate. He's out the door in an instant. Number 2 follows immediately. Number 3. Number 4. The line is moving fast. Men shuffling forward, disappearing into the darkness. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. My turn. I step to the door. The wind hits me like a wall. I can see nothing below, just darkness and tracers and flak bursts. The engines are screaming. The whole aircraft is shaking. The crew chief slaps my leg. Go. I don't think. I just go. Hands on the sides of the door. Step into space. Push off hard. Falling. The prop blast hits me, spinning me around. Wind roaring, darkness everywhere. Noise. Confusion. Terror. Then, a massive jerk as the static line rips my parachute free and deploys it. The chute opens. I look up, instinct from training, and see the beautiful round canopy silhouetted against slightly lighter sky. Relief floods through me. I'm not falling anymore. I'm descending. controllably. Then I look down. I can't see the ground. It's too dark. I can see tracer fire, red and white streaks cutting through the darkness. I can see flak bursts. I can see other parachutes around me, maybe a dozen visible scattered across the sky like dandelion seeds. But I can't see the ground, which means I don't know when I'm going to hit it or what I'm going to hit. Training said to look for the ground, prepare for landing, drop your leg bag on its tether when you're about 20 feet up. But I can't see 20 feet up from the ground because I can't see the ground. I reach down and pull the release on my leg bag anyway. The bag drops away on its rope and I feel the weight disappear. That's good. Don't want to land with that extra weight. I try to steer using the risers, but the wind is pushing me. I'm drifting. I don't know which direction or how fast, but I'm definitely drifting. Something whooshes past me. Another paratrooper falling faster. His chute must have malfunctioned, or maybe it opened late. He disappears into the darkness below. I don't hear him hit the ground, but I also wouldn't over the noise of engines and gunfire. Then I see the ground. Suddenly, too close. Trees. I'm heading straight for a tree line. Big trees. Oak or something similar. Thick trunks, heavy branches. If I hit them wrong, I could break my back. If I get tangled in the branches, I'll be hanging there like a Christmas ornament, completely exposed to anyone who wants to shoot me. I pull hard on the risers, trying to slip away from the trees. It's not enough. I'm still drifting toward them. 20 feet, 10 feet. I hit. Branches snap. My chute catches on something. I swing hard into a trunk, hitting it with my shoulder. Pain explodes through my arm. I bounce off, swing back, hit more branches. Something rakes across my face. A branch, or maybe just leaves. My helmet gets knocked askew. Then I stop. I'm hanging about 10 feet off the ground, tangled in the tree. My chute caught in the upper branches. For a moment, I just hang there, stunned. I landed in a tree, but I'm alive. My shoulder hurts like hell, but I can move it. My face is scratched, but not seriously cut. Gunfire echoes in the distance. Engines drone overhead. More aircraft coming. More sticks jumping. Somewhere nearby, someone is shouting in what might be English or might be German, I can't tell. I need to get down from this tree. I reach for my quick-release buckles. The harness is designed to come off with 3 quick hits. Chest, left leg, right leg. But I'm hanging at an angle. My weight is on the straps, and they're jammed. I try again. The chest buckle releases. Good. Left leg, stuck. I hit it harder. Still stuck. I'm swinging slightly in the harness, and every movement makes me sway more. Below me, I can hear rustling. Something moving, or someone. I freeze. Listen. Footsteps. Definitely. Footsteps. Coming closer. I'm hanging in a tree, partially tangled, unable to move quietly, and someone is approaching. This is exactly the nightmare scenario they warned us about in training. I need to get down, get my weapon ready, find cover. I hit the left leg buckle again. Harder this time. It releases. The right leg follows immediately. Suddenly I'm dropping. I fall about 8 feet and hit the ground hard. My knees buckle. I roll with the impact, training kicking in, and come up on my feet, pulling my rifle from its breakaway mount. The M1 comes free. I chamber around. The metallic click-clack of the action seems incredibly loud in the darkness. The footsteps have stopped. I crouch behind a tree trunk, weapon ready, breathing hard, trying to listen over the sound of my own heartbeat. Flash. I whisper. That's the password. The countersign is thunder. No response. Maybe they didn't hear me. Maybe it was an animal, Maybe it was my imagination. Or maybe it's a German who knows better than to respond to American passwords. I wait. 30 seconds. A minute. No more sounds. Slowly, carefully, I look around the tree trunk. I can't see much. Just shapes in the darkness. Trees. Undergrowth. My parachute hanging above me, like a white flag saying American Paratrooper landed here. I need to cut that down. If Germans patrol through here, they'll see it immediately. I move away from the tree, keeping low, rifle ready. The forest floor is soft underfoot, moss and fallen leaves. My boots make almost no sound. Good training pays off. After about 20 yards, I stop and listen again. Still nothing. Whatever I heard, if I heard anything, it's gone now. I circle back to my landing site. My leg bag is hanging from a lower branch, still attached to my harness by its tether. I pull it down and open it. Inside, more ammunition, more grenades, rations, water purification tablets, extra socks, a compass, maps, a first aid kit, and various other supplies I'm supposed to have. I cut my parachute down using my knife. It takes a few minutes. The silk is strong, but I managed to get most of it down and bundle it roughly. No point trying to hide it perfectly. If Germans patrol through here, they'll find signs of my landing regardless, but at least I'm not leaving a giant white marker. Now what? I'm alone in a forest in occupied France? Somewhere in Normandy? With no idea exactly where. My orders were to link up with my unit and move toward the objective, securing the causeway at Exit 3 behind Utah Beach. But I don't know where Exit 3 is from here. I don't know where my unit is, and I don't even know which direction I'm facing. Compass. Right. I've got a compass. I pull out my compass and crouch down, shielding it with my body while I check the direction. The luminous dial glows faintly. North is that way. According to our briefings, the coastline, and therefore Utah Beach, is to the north. The causeways run inland from the beach, so I need to move. Roughly northwest, I think. But that's assuming I landed anywhere near my assigned drop zone. If I'm way off course, which is entirely possible given the chaos of the flight and jump, I could be miles from where I'm supposed to be. I pull out my map. It's printed on silk so it won't crinkle and give away your position. I try to orient it with my compass, but in the darkness, it's almost impossible to read the details. I can make out the general coastline, the beach sectors, the major roads, but without knowing exactly where I am, the map doesn't help much. A distant rumble catches my attention. It sounds like explosions. Big ones. Either naval bombardment has started, which would mean it's close to H-hour, the beach landings, or those are German artillery positions firing. Hard to tell. Then I hear something closer. Voices. Multiple voices. Speaking. I can't make out the language. I freeze. Slowly, carefully, I move toward the sound, keeping low, using trees for cover. My rifle is ready. My finger is on the trigger guard. Not the trigger itself, safety rule from training. But I'm ready to move it to the trigger in an instant. The voices get clearer. I can make out words now. English, American English, Midwest accent. Maybe Ohio or Indiana. Relief washes over me. I found friendlies. Flesh, I call out. Not too loud. Thunder, comes the immediate reply. Flash, I repeat. Thunder. Get over here, whoever you are. I move toward them, making some noise so they don't shoot me by accident. 3 men, all wearing the screaming evil patch of the 101st. I don't recognize any of them. Different company probably. But right now, they're the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. Who are you? Asks a sergeant, older guy, maybe 30. Private First Class Dalton, Easy Company, 506th. Long way from home, Dalton. I'm Sergeant Martin, Dog Company, 502nd. This is Corporal Hayes and Private Jensen. They're from a different regiment entirely. The 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment instead of my 506th. But that doesn't matter. We're all 101st Airborne. We're all supposed to be securing the causeways. And right now, 4 Americans are better than 1. You know where we are? I ask. Hell if I know, Martin says. We landed in some farmer's field about half a mile back. Flooded field, actually. Jensen here almost drowned in his chute before we fished him out. Jensen, who looks about 18, nods but doesn't say anything. He's soaking wet and shivering. We've been heading north, Martin continues. Figure the beach is north, so that's where we need to be. That's what I figured, too. You got a cricket? Martin asks, holding up a small brass device. It makes a clicking sound when you press it. It's a recognition signal. 1 click is a challenge, 2 clicks is the response. Simpler than passwords when you're in the dark. Yeah, I pull mine out and click it. Click, clack. Martin clicks his back. Click, clack, clack. Good, let's move. We move in single file, about 10 yards between each man. Martin leads. Hayes is second. I'm third. Jensen brings up the rear. We move slowly, carefully, stopping frequently to listen. The forest is alive with sounds, gunfire in the distance, small arms, machine guns, the occasional heavier thump of a mortar or artillery piece, aircraft overhead still, more parachutes deploying, though we can't see them through the trees. Somewhere far off a building is burning. We can see the orange glow through the trees. We're not alone in this forest. I can hear other groups moving, other sounds of men crashing through underbrush. Some might be friendly, some might be German. In the darkness, it's impossible to tell until you're close enough to challenge them, and by then, if they're hostile, you're in a gunfight. My shoulder still hurts from hitting the tree, but adrenaline is keeping the pain manageable. My hands are scratched from branches. My face itches where the camouflage paint is drying. My equipment weighs a ton, and I'd give my right arm for a drink of water that isn't from my canteen, which tastes like metal and iodine. But I'm alive. I'm with friendly troops. I'm moving toward the objective. That's more than a lot of guys can say right now. We emerge from the forest into an open field. It's a hedgerow country. I recognize it from the maps. The fields in Normandy are divided by hedgerows, thick earthen walls covered with vegetation, sometimes 10 feet high, sometimes with trees growing out of them. They're ancient, been here for centuries, and they turn the whole countryside into a maze of small enclosed fields. Hold up, Martin whispers. He crouches by the hedgerow listening. We all freeze. I can hear it too. Voices, German voices. Not close, maybe 100 yards away, but definitely German. They're talking casually, no urgency in their tone. Probably a patrol, maybe checking on the anti-aircraft positions we flew over. Martin signals us to move along the hedgerow, using it for cover. We comply, moving quietly. The hedge provides good concealment. Thick vegetation, impossible to see through, but it also channels our movement. We can only move along it or find a gap to cross through. After about 200 yards, we find a gate, an actual wooden gate in the hedgerow. Martin peers through it carefully, then signals for us to follow. We slip through the gate into another field. This one's flooded, just like Jensen's landing zone. The water is about a foot deep in places, maybe 2 feet in others. We wade through it, trying to be quiet, which is nearly impossible. Water sloshes with every step, then halt. Weirda? A German voice, close, maybe 30 yards away. We all freeze. In a foot of water, in the middle of an open field, with moonlight making us clearly visible to anyone who's looking down, Martin hisses. We drop into the water. It's cold. Shockingly cold. I'm soaked instantly. The water is up to my chest as I crouch. My weapon is above water, barely held tight against my shoulder. I can see the German now, silhouette against the slightly lighter sky. He's standing on the far side of the flooded field, maybe at another gate. He's holding a rifle, looking in our general direction. Did he see us? Or did he just hear the water? Where? Da? He calls again. Who's there? Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. We're statues in the water. The German walks forward a few steps. He's entering the flooded field, waiting like we just did. He's coming to investigate. My finger moves to the trigger. If he gets close enough to see us clearly, we'll have to shoot. And if we shoot, every German in the area will know exactly where we are. 20 yards. 15. He's getting closer. I can see him more clearly now. Wehrmacht uniform. Standard infantry. Helmet. Rifle. Looks like a Kar 98. The standard German bolt action. He's moving slowly, carefully, sweeping his rifle back and forth. 10 yards. Martin's hand moves. I see it in my peripheral vision. He's signaling. Slowly, carefully, he's pointing at himself, then at the German, then making a cutting motion across his throat. He's gonna take the German out silently. Knife work. But the German has to get closer. Has to be right on top of us. One wrong move and this turns into a gunfight. 8 yards. 7. The German stops. He's looking right at us. Can he see us? In the darkness, crouched in the water, we should be nearly invisible. But if he's looking right at us? Hans, another voice, farther away. Was his Luz. Another German, asking what's wrong. The first German responds, Ich dachte, ich hätte etwas gehört. I thought I heard something. Wahrscheinlich Frösche. Probably frogs. The first German laughs. Ja, Frösche. He turns around and wades back toward his position. We stay frozen for another full minute after he's gone. Then, slowly, Martin signals us to move. We wade through the rest of the flooded field as quietly as possible, which isn't very quiet, and reach the far hedgerow. We pull ourselves out of the water and collapse on the dry side of the hedgerow. We're all soaked, freezing, exhausted, but we're alive. That was too close, Hayes mutters. We got lucky, Martin says. Frösche. Frogs. Good thing there are frogs in this field. Are there? Jensen asks. Hell if I know. But thank God that German thinks there are. I'm shivering now. The adrenaline is wearing off, and the cold is setting in. June in France is warmer than England, but it's still not warm, and being soaked in the middle of the night is not pleasant. We need to keep moving, Martin says. Get the blood flowing, warm up. Can't stay here. He's right. We pull ourselves up and start moving again. The next few hours blur together. We move from field to field, hedgerow to hedgerow, always heading roughly north. We encounter more paratroopers, some from the 101st, some from the 82nd Airborne Division. Our group grows to about 15 men, all from different units, all separated from our assigned stakes. we encountered German patrols twice more. Once, we ambushed them, a 3-man patrol that walked right into us. Short, brutal fight. Loud. We win, but we have to move quickly afterward because every German in the area heard the gunfire. The second encounter, we avoid them. They're a larger group, maybe a squad, moving with purpose towards some objective. We hide in a ditch while they pass not 20 feet away. My heart is pounding so hard I'm convinced they'll hear it, but they don't. They march past, unaware. Dawn is coming. I can see it in the sky. The black fading to deep blue, then to purple. The stars are disappearing. Soon it'll be light enough to see clearly, which is both good and bad. Good because we'll be able to navigate better. Bad because we'll be visible to German positions. We enter a small village. I don't know its name, and there are no signs. The buildings are typical Norman construction. Stone walls, slate roofs, narrow streets. Some are damaged, probably from the bombardment or from the fighting that's been going on all night. The village appears deserted. Doors and windows are shuttered. No lights, no movement. But I have the distinct feeling we're being watched. Careful, Martin says. Could be Germans, could be French resistance, could be just scared civilians. We move through the village in tactical formation, checking corners, covering each other. Every doorway could hide an enemy. Every window could have a sniper. We're halfway through when we find them. An old man and woman, maybe 70 years old, peering out from a doorway. They look terrified. Martin approaches them carefully, hands visible, rifle pointed down. American, he says. American. Hemi. Friend. The old woman's face transforms. She starts crying. The old man steps out and grabs Martin's hand, shaking it vigorously, speaking rapid French. I don't understand most of it, but I catch a few words: mercy, liberation, Allemands, thank you, liberation, Germans. This is what we're here for. These people, this village, this country. We're here to liberate them from 4 years of occupation. The moment doesn't last long. We can't stay. But as we move through the rest of the village, more doors open. More French civilians emerge, tentatively at first, then more confidently. They're cheering, crying, bringing us bread and wine, even though we can't stop to accept it. We exit the village on its north side and immediately encounter heavy fighting. The sound of gunfire intensifies. Rifle fire, machine gun fire, explosions. It's coming from ahead of us, maybe half a mile away. That's got to be the causeway, Martin says. They're fighting for the causeway. Which causeway? We don't know. There are several. But wherever it is, that's where we need to be. We move toward the sound of battle. The terrain opens up. Less hedgerows, more open fields. We can see smoke rising from multiple locations, buildings burning. The occasional flash of an explosion, and then we see it, the causeway, a raised road running across flooded fields toward the beach, and Americans fighting Germans for control of it. It's chaos. Paratroopers are attacking from multiple directions, trying to seize the raised road and the small village at its inland end. Germans are defending from prepared positions. Machine gun nests, foxholes, maybe even a small artillery piece. Hard to tell from this distance. That's where we go, Martin says. 506, 82nd, doesn't matter. We're airborne. That's our objective. Who's with me? Everyone raises a hand. We're tired, soaked, cold, low on ammunition in some cases, but we're paratroopers. This is what we train for. This is why we jumped. All right then, Martin says. Let's go to work. We move toward the causeway in a rush, keeping low, using what cover we can find. Machine gun fire sweeps over us. German MG-42s. You can tell by the rate of fire like ripping cloth. We dive into a ditch. I can see the German position now. A fortified position maybe 200 yards away. Covering the causeway approach. Machine gun nest. Probably infantry squad supporting it. We need to take it out. We need to clear that position so other troops can advance up the causeway. Martin is already planning. Hayes, you and Jensen work around to the left flank. Dalton, you're with me. We'll provide covering fire while they move. When they're in position, we all open up together. Understood? We all nod. Hayes and Jensen start moving, crawling through the shallow water at the edge of the ditch, using reeds for concealment. It's slow work. Every movement could give away their position. Martin and I find firing positions. I rest my M1 on the edge of the ditch, sighting in on the German position. I can see movement there. Shapes moving behind sandbags. Helmets visible briefly. My training comes back. Breathing. Sight picture. Trigger control. Don't jerk. Squeeze. On my mark, Martin whispers. When I fire, you open up. Pour it on. I wait. My finger is on the trigger. My breathing is steady. My heart rate has slowed. Strange calm that comes in combat when everything narrows down to the moment, to the target, to the mission. Hayes and Jensen are in position. I can see them just barely, about 50 yards to the left of the German position. Now, Martin fires. I fire. The M1 kicks against my shoulder. I work the trigger, firing as fast as I can. Aim. 8-round clip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The clip ejects with that distinctive ping. I load another, keep firing. Hayes and Jensen are firing from the flank. Other Americans are firing too. More paratroopers have joined the attack, drawn by the sound of battle. The Germans return fire, but they're confused now, taking fire from multiple directions. Their response is less organized, more panicked. A grenade arcs toward the German position. It explodes with a flash and a concussion I can feel in my chest even from here. More grenades. More rifle fire. Then silence. The German position has gone quiet. Cease fire. Someone shouts, "Cease fire!" The shooting stops. Smoke drifts across the flooded field. My ears are ringing. Slowly, carefully, we advance on the position, weapons ready, expecting resistance. We find 4 dead Germans and 2 wounded. The wounded have their hands up, surrendering. We secure them quickly, take their weapons, check them for grenades, bind their hands with their own belts. The causeway approach is clear. For now, more troops are arriving, paratroopers from various units, all drawn to this objective. An officer I don't recognize, Captain's Bars, takes command. He organizes us into squads, assigns sectors, sets up defensive positions. "Good work, men," he says. We hold this position. The 4th Infantry is landing on the beaches right now. They'll be here in a few hours. A few hours. Hold for a few hours. The sun is fully up now. It's June 6, 1944. D-Day. The invasion is happening, and I'm alive to see it. I find a position in the shell hole near the causeway and settle in. My shoulder still hurts. My face still itches. I'm soaked, cold, exhausted, and I haven't slept in over 24 hours. My ammunition is low. Maybe 2 clips left for my rifle, a few grenades, but I'm alive. I look toward the beach. I can't see it clearly from here. Too much haze, too much smoke, but I know it's there, Utah Beach. And somewhere on that beach, American soldiers are fighting their way ashore. Men who volunteered, just like I did. Men who trained, just like I trained. Men who are probably just as scared as I was when I jumped out of that aircraft last night. If you served in the war, if you hit those beaches or jumped into the darkness or sailed into hostile waters, you know what I'm talking about. That mixture of fear and pride and duty and the simple desire to serve. You did your job. You trusted your training. You helped liberate a continent. And if you didn't serve, if you're too young or you came after, your fathers or grandfathers might have told you about what it was like to be young and far from home and fighting for something bigger than yourself. I think about my parents back in Tulsa. They have no idea what I'm doing right now. They won't know for weeks, maybe months, whether I'm alive or dead. They'll wait for letters that might never come. They'll watch the newsreels and wonder if I'm in that footage somewhere. That anonymous soldier in the background. I think about Henderson. I hope he made it. I hope his parachute opened, that he didn't land in deep water, that he found friendly troops, that he's alive somewhere fighting his own small battle in this vast invasion. I think about the Germans, the ones we killed, the ones we captured. They had families too. Mothers and fathers waiting for letters. Some of them probably didn't even want to be here. Conscripts fighting for a regime they might not believe in. War makes enemies of people who might otherwise have been friends. But they were shooting at us, and we were shooting at them. And that's war. The morning progresses. More troops arrive. More paratroopers who spent the night scattered across the French countryside, now converging on their objectives. We fortify our position, dig in, string barbed wire, set up fields of fire. German counterattacks come, small ones, squad-sized probes, testing our defenses. We repel them. The fighting is sporadic, but intense when it happens. Then quiet. Then intense again. Around noon, we hear it. Tanks. The 4th Infantry Division has fought their way off Utah Beach, across the flooded fields and up the causeways. They're here. The 1st Sherman tank that rumbles past our position gets a cheer from every man. We did it. We held the causeways. We completed our mission. More tanks follow. More infantry, jeeps, half-tracks, supplies. The invasion force is moving inland, and we're part of it. An officer, Major Zoke leaves on his collar, stops to talk to our captain. "You boys from the 101st?" he asks. "Yes, sir. Various companies, various sticks. We linked up during the night." "Well, you held the line when it mattered. Well done. Rest up. You've earned it. We'll take it from here." Rest. The word sounds like a dream. We're pulled back from the frontline positions and told to bivouac in a field about a mile inland. Guards are posted, but the rest of us are told to sleep. Actually sleep. I find a spot under a hedgerow, spread out my shelter, half a small canvas sheet that's supposed to serve as half of a 2-man tent, and lie down. The ground has never felt so good. My mind is still racing, but my body is shutting down. Exhaustion is winning over adrenaline. Around me, other men are doing the same. Some are eating K-rations, hard crackers, canned meat that tastes like cardboard, but is food nonetheless. Some are smoking. Some are writing letters or checking their equipment. A medic is going around treating wounds, mostly minor. Cuts, scrapes, twisted ankles, nothing serious enough to evacuate. I pull out my last letter to my parents. It's soaked, the ink running, completely illegible. I'll have to write a new one later. When my hands stop shaking, I close my eyes. Just for a moment, I tell myself. Just a quick rest. But sleep pulls me under like a tide, and I surrender to it. When I wake up, it's late afternoon. The sun is lower in the sky. I've slept for hours, the first real sleep since before we loaded the aircraft yesterday. I sit up, disoriented for a moment, then remember where I am. France, Normandy, D-Day. I made it through. My shoulder still hurts. My whole body aches, actually. I'm stiff, sore, covered in bruises I didn't notice yesterday, but I'm alive. I see Henderson. He's walking across the field toward me, limping slightly, but grinning. "Dalton, you beautiful son of a bitch," he says. "I thought you were dead." "I thought you were dead," I reply. "Close call. Landed in a tree, hung there for 20 minutes before I got down." "You." "Same. Tree. Almost drowned in a flooded field. Got shot at by Germans. The usual." He sits down beside me, groaning as his joints protest. We sit in companionable silence for a moment. "We did it," Henderson finally says. "We actually did it." "Yeah," I say. "We did." In the distance, I can hear the sounds of war continuing. Gunfire, explosions, the rumble of tanks. The invasion is still happening, but for now, in this moment, in this field, in Normandy, we're alive. Those of you who jumped, who served, who fought, you know what this feels like. The relief of survival, the exhaustion, the pride in having done your job despite the fear, and the knowledge that tomorrow you'll have to do it again. And those of you who didn't serve but heard the stories from your fathers or grandfathers, this is what they lived through. These hours of terror and violence and chaos, punctuated by moments of calm where you could rest and remember that you're human. This was D-Day. This was June 5th through 6th, 1944. This was the day the Allies came ashore in France and began the long fight to liberate Europe from Nazi occupation. I jumped from that aircraft. I fought my way through the night. I helped secure the causeways so others could advance inland. It wasn't heroic in the Hollywood sense. It was messy and confusing and terrifying. But it needed to be done, and we did it. Now, as the sun sets on D-Day, I lie back against the hedgerow and watch the sky turn orange and purple. Tomorrow will bring more fighting, more casualties, more objectives to secure. This was just the beginning. But tonight, I'm alive. I'm with my brothers in arms. We completed our mission, and that's enough. If tonight's journey into D-Day stirred memories, whether your own from service in Europe, the Pacific, Korea, or Vietnam, or stories your father told you about jumping behind enemy lines or hitting the beaches, I'd be honored if you shared them in the comments below. Your generation's perspective is irreplaceable, and these stories need to be told and preserved. And remember, someone actually lived this. Tens of thousands of young men lived this day 80 years ago. Many didn't make it home. Those who did carried these memories for the rest of their lives. We owe them our gratitude, our memory, and our continued freedom. I'll see you in the next one.